How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? The Joker Gamer here. As you can tell, we are in yet a new electric car. This is the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-E Gran Turismo. Now, I remember I was hating on this car because of how ugly it was. But if you look at the interior is actually not bad. It's actually pretty cool. Everything from the touchscreen to basically the gauges. And this car is fully tuned, so this thing puts out probably at least, let me look real quick. I can't remember the performance of this car. This is a performance level 600 out of 600, so this thing is fully tuned. So this thing puts out 1,180 horsepower. 5,011 foot-pound, or no, that's weight. 5,011 pounds. Speed is 180 miles an hour. Acceleration in 2.77 seconds. Braking is 19.8 yards, and then lateral G is a 107. I've only put 461 miles on this car. And then, to the next one, we have the 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner Freedom Edition. This thing puts out a monstrous 888 horsepower with a combined weight of 3,746 pounds. Speed is 180 miles an hour. Acceleration is 3.90 seconds, which actually isn't bad for a Roadrunner. Braking is 23.4 yards, and lateral G is 1.5. I've only put 2 miles on this car. But honestly, it's pretty good considering the fact that I watched a video last night and basically I learned some things about Plymouth. Is that this car is actually known to be one of the better cars at Plymouth, is the Roadrunner. So we got claw blade tires. Since we beat we beat 3 groups. We beat the Night Stalkers, the Quick Whiskers, and the Claw Blades. So we got their cars and their tires, and we'll be showing off those next. So here's what the tires look like for the Claw Blades. It says the word King on there in white lettering. And then Quick Whiskers is just yellow lines. And then Night Stalkers, it's also yellow lines with a little bit of boop, 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 boop. And then let's go to the other cars that we have. So this next one is the Pontiac Boss car you get if you beat them. Boom. Okay. So this is the 1966 Pontiac GTO Rival Edition. Now, if you notice on the side of the graphics, on the side of the car, those actually light up in the dark, along with a yellow underglow. You can't really change anything about this car, which is kind of depressing, including the livery. But I mean, I don't really like the front end on it, how it's lowered to the ground like that. I'd rather have it with like some more cooler kind of looks, but this car puts out 1,135 horsepower. This is a front-wheel drive transmission, and this car has an unknown weight. This car's top speed is 223 miles per hour. Acceleration is 2.90 seconds. Braking is 18.7 yards, and lateral G is 1.24, and I've only put 1 mile on this car. All right, let's move on to the next car. So this is going to be your other boss, Alfa Romeo. This is the only Alfa Romeo I actually own. This is the 2021 Alfa Romeo Giulia GTM Rival Edition. I'm sorry if you're from Alfa Romeo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. It's just kind of a hard name to pronounce. So let's get the details on this one. So this one puts out. This is a 750 out of 750. This car is front-wheel drive transmission. This car puts out 794 horsepower with a combined weight of 3,483 foot-pounds, or not foot-pounds of torque, 304 3,483 pounds. Top speed is 224 miles an hour, so this car actually gets up and goes. 0 to 60 in 3.20 seconds. Braking ability is 18.1 yards, and lateral G is 1.44. I've never put any miles on this car, because the fucking cool thing about this car is the livery. It actually lights up in the dark, and it is so cool. It's a very cool car. It's definitely one of my favorites. So then we go to the last car, which I think is a... can't remember here. We'll have to look around and see if we can find it. I can't remember what the other car is. It's somewhere around here. It's gonna be a rival edition, I think. Oh, I remember it. So the last car is gonna be a DeLorean. This is the 1981 DeLorean DMC-12 Rival Edition. Let's get the details on this beautiful car. Transmission is MR. Medium rear, I guess, is what that stands for, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard that one before. It's 750 out of 750, so this car is fully tuned as well. The power of this monster is 660 horsepower, with a combined weight of 2,743 pounds. Speed is 224 miles an hour. 0 to 60 in 3.43 seconds. Braking is 18.6 yards, and a lateral G of 1.27. And I've put no miles on this car either, because I just got it, and I kind of like this. Honestly, those are the only new cars. There's one more group I gotta beat, and then I can get that car, and then I can also tune that car up and then race the mystery driver. So let's show you what I've done so far. I did this all on a Facebook live stream one day. So these are the groups I've beaten so far. I've beaten the Claw Blades in the race, taken their car. The Night Stalkers, I've beaten their group and taken their car. The Quick Whiskers, I've beaten their crew and taken their car. So now the last one is the Diamond Fangs. So you got Blaze, Cat Eye, Stalker, and Daydream. And then the final car is, I think it's a Nissan, or I think it's a Honda. And then we race the freaking and then we race the OG. So this is the car you'll be getting. It's it's an M5, okay. It's a BMW M5. CS Rival Edition. It looks pretty cool, regardless. And then you get the Diamond Fangs emote if you beat them. And something to tell you about the emotes in this game. When you race the Night Stalkers and the Quick Whiskers, they have some of the funniest emotes. So if you pass them, so if you beat them, they'll have that emote, and if they're like crazy, then they'll have that emote. But the funniest thing about the Quick Whisker or the Night Stalkers is that when you rev your engine and you pass them, they get that, and then they get the sad emote when they lose. I've had it times where I've had that emote, and you can hear it sounds like a cat meowing, like a meow sound effect. It is so freaking funny. And then we got the Happy Claw Blades. That's the crazy psycho version, and then the sad Claw Blades when they lose. To tell you the truth, the hardest one I had, I think it was the Claw Blades. It was Flash's mission. His was in the wrong lanes of traffic, so just be aware of that when you race him. He's going to be quite hard because he's on the highway. So, which means you got to drive half of the race. It's pretty much in the wrong lane, so that means you got to deal with oncoming traffic. And his Camaro is actually quite fast. Now, I have beaten these guys before. That was in, I think, the playlist Made in Japan 2. So it's like you get back into the Japan race and stuff, racing scene, and then you have like different groups that challenge you to a race. And they got all the chitter and chatter and trash talking and stuff like that. and then you just come out and you just obliterate their group. And then once you get done with the playlist, you get the car, and then you can basically re-race them, beat their group for their car as well. So, and if you want to beat them, use a car that's fully tuned. You'll have a lot better luck if you have a car that's fully tuned and that's appropriate for that one. But if you want to do the Ford, if the Ford playlist ever comes out, use this car, fully tune it, and then you'll get, instead of doing the Ford GT, you'll actually do the street tier 1. It's going to be a lot easier. Because you get cars that are basically like the Crown Victoria, you get to race those and all that. It's so easy. And plus it's a lot funner because then you can just light the freaking electric vehicle off and just take off on the road. So yeah, that's my tip to you guys if you ever do play the Crew Motorfest. If you want to learn the ways of the racing, seeing if you haven't done Made in Japan, I highly recommend doing it because you'll get a pretty cool Supra. And then if you do the Made in Japan 2, that's when you'll meet the groups I told you about. And I believe one of them actually says that they're a YouTuber, believe it or not. But yeah, you'll notice this car has very good handling. And some of them you'll have to use your brakes, but like when you do, look at that handling. You can use your brakes and then like your car stays completely on the road, completely in control. And then when you get a straightaway, you just gun it. The car stops fantastically if you use your e-brake, so yeah, the car stops perfect. So this is a pretty good car. It's $364,000 if I remember correctly in bucks. So if you have $364,000, I recommend buying this car because it's a very good car for the Ford playlist. If you haven't already, if you've done it already, or if you haven't done it, or the racing, Ford racing, if you haven't done it in the Crew Motorfest, I highly recommend doing it because it's not going to be here for much longer. Because then they'll change it to something else, and who knows what that could be. But yeah, if you do, I highly recommend getting this car if you wanna have a pretty easy race with less stress. I highly recommend getting this vehicle. It's going to help you out a lot. It handles really well. The speed is phenomenal if you fully tune it. You just cut right in, so like say for racing right now, you hit, so then right as soon as it goes 1, you want to cut right in the middle, right through the first and second drivers, and then just gun it. I've learned that strategy from Need for Speed when I used to play, not Rivals, but Need for Speed, I think it wasn't Most Wanted. I never really got into that. I just more or less messed with the cops in that game, but God, what the hell was that game? Hot Pursuit and Need for Speed Heat. I would usually use that tip again on Need for Speed Heat because there's some cars that I usually use that are really good, like the Subaru Impreza. If you play that game, I recommend getting the Subaru Impreza and fully tuning that car out because then your car is just going to be unbeatable. And in one of the races, it is so funny because one of your I think it's your partner. If you go so fast and take the track around, he'll actually accuse you of cheating. The first thing he'll say is, "Are you cheating? How come you're going so fast? Are you cheating?" And it's like, "No, I'm not cheating. My car's just that fast." And that's what I always say. "No, my car's just that quick." because it's fully tuned. Another car to use is the Ford Mustang 5.0 Fox Body. If you fully tune that car up, that's a pretty, get it up to the highest max. That car is a pretty beastie car too. That's pretty good for racing around, for doing the track racing in Palm City. That's a very good car to race around in Palm City on the racetrack when you do the missions like those. You can even win it in the hardest mode. And you can just take off and just win it like nothing. Like, your opponents won't even be done, and by the time they do that, you'll be already at the finish line. So yeah, those are some tips from Joker Gamer. Myself, if you accept the tips, I think you'll have a lot of good luck in this game and a lot more success. If you struggle playing Need for Speed Heat, those are some good cars to invest in. Those are a couple of the best cars to invest in. And if you're talking off-road vehicles, you'll want to get the Subaru Impreza SUV, put the beefiest off-road tires on it. And because with that, you'll be able to slide perfectly on the dirt. So if you do like the dirt track racing with the ramps, you can literally just drift the track perfectly. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. That's some tips and car showcase in the Crew Motorfest, and some tips from the Crew Motorfest if you're racing in the game, or if you race in Need for Speed Heat, or Need for Speed Undercover, or not Undercover, but Need for Speed Most Wanted, like the newer one with the cop, and the one where you can play as a cop and or a suspect. And yeah, don't forget to like and please subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. See ya.